So I'm recently just off the phone to Scott's Armour, who, on a side note, we will be going back to streaming at some point. I know I did say, like fucking 2, 3 months ago, Shine, the pair of us would get back to streaming, like the good old days, but it just never materialised due to, circumstances and the pair of our lives and whatnot, but we will be getting back to it at some point. Regardless, he brought this story to my attention, and there's no references in the article here in question about the sort of background of the person in question here, but according to him, and he got this from sources prior to, the mainstream media starting to pick up on the story, that the person in question might very well be of a different continental persuasion, shall we say. That said, more importantly, or equally as important, is my additional concern, which I'll come on to, but regardless. So, man has stormed a Glasgow primary school and strips off as parents have been left outraged. This is a Daily Record. It goes on to say here that police were called to St Mungo's primary school after the alarm was raised at around 11:30 on Tuesday. A man has been arrested and charged after he allegedly gained entry to a primary school in Glasgow and indecently exposed himself. Police were called after the alarm was raised at around 11:30 on Tuesday. It's been alleged that the man entered the school and refused to leave before proceeding to take his clothes off. The man in question being 20 years old, and he was arrested and charged. He's due to appear at Glasgow Sheriff Court today. In a letter sent to parents following the incident, which has been seen by the Daily Record, and they post a wee screenshot down below. Scott Armour did make reference to me as well on his Telegram prior to this article here, that he'd posted this on his Telegram. For the meantime, do not use Telegram, but if you are on Telegram, look for his channel and you'll probably see what he's had to say on the matter. However, it says, the school confirmed that children were not present and were in classrooms at the time. So anyway, just scrolling in on this a wee bit, if I can. This is the letter in question. I am aware that there's information circulating about an incident that we had to deal with in school today which required the help of the police, and I want to reassure our families that no children in the school were present or at risk at any point. The incident involved a member of the public, and our school staff acted swiftly in the circumstances and called the police. As this is now a police investigation, I hope that you will understand that I am not able to share many details. Safety of our children and staff is and remains our priority, and I know that the presence of the police will have caused concern. Thank you for the continued support of our school community, and I will share more details when I can. Alright? And I'm just seeing if there's anything else here before I finish my thoughts. I don't know if there actually is. Let me see. Parents were left outraged after news of the incident emerged on social media on Tuesday evening. Shirley Ann Jenkins demanded enhanced safety protocols in the aftermath of the incident. She said, once the kids are in our school, then all doors should be locked for safety. If access was gained through another door apart from the main reception, which she should not have been given access to unless been known to the school or been shown ID, or able to show ID, then the school is at fault and no other exits should be left unattended or especially unlocked. Another person said they need to ensure all doors are locked in schools, as security is an issue. No entry should be gained unless it is at the front door that the office can see through the monitor who it is and use the intercom. Another person said, or questioned even, how did he get into the school so easily? That's so disturbing, and there should be a lot more security. This could have been a lot worse. Another saying, it's about time all schools had security doors. People should not be able to just access the building. It's a scary world that we live in. Teachers were at the school gates on Wednesday morning speaking to concerned parents following the incident. Glasgow Council spokesperson told the Record, the school is helping the police with their inquiries and has sent families reassuring communications that this incident did not involve or was witnessed by any children. And they then say it would be inappropriate to comment further at this stage as this is an ongoing police investigation. Police Scotland spokesperson said that around 11:30, they received a report of a man indecently exposing himself at school in Glasgow. And obviously it then says he's been arrested, obviously. So there is that. And I just want to clarify something. If I made the mistake of saying this happened today, this isn't fucking Tuesday. This is Wednesday. But regardless, Point being, though, as I say, there is chatter sort of behind the scenes to a certain extent about the background of said individual. Uh, and obviously, there's no reference to the person in question here, so I will just leave that at that. But more importantly, about school security in and of itself, there's a good point that got raised in the phone call I had earlier on with Scott Sarmer was about the fact that this is a school, and he's obviously from Glasgow, I'm not, but this is a school that's very close to a police station, right? If that can happen in a school so close to a police station, then it can happen fucking anywhere. Especially when you think of schools that are, away out in the suburbs or away out in. Let's think of the Highlands, for example. Schools that you sometimes drive by if you're out driving in the desolate roads of the Scottish Highlands where there's a school that might only have about 15, 16 pupils or whatever it may be, away out in the middle of nowhere, old school buildings that haven't been updated and modified for the modern era with top-notch security, etc. And I use the words top-notch security very lightly given the fact that, in this particular instance, you would assume that this school would have some semblance of top-notch security. So the fact that a man was able to enter a primary school and strip off and show his bobby or whatever if he did, it leaves a lot to be desired. Quite frankly, to quote Nicola Sturgeon in her little book, that's quite worrying. It's seriously quite worrying, really, where children are not even safe in schools anymore in this day and age. I don't know. But I just thought I would bring attention to this, just on the off chance that it's a story that kind of goes under the radar. And more so than others, I think this story deserves the attention that up until now it's not really getting, because it's pretty abhorrent, irrespective of the background of the individual in question, let me just stress. But on top of that, it does really call into question the security or lack thereof of primary schools. You know, so, yeah, on that note, adios.